Okay, do y'all remember early in the year when Oh That's Rich and some other big creators kept using the term Extinction Burst? We were watching Elon Musk and the made-up, not real Department of Government Efficiency try to dismantle the federal government as quickly as they possibly could. We watched Donald Trump signing executive order after executive order, trying to enact all of Project 2025's terrible, horrible vision for this country. And a number of big creators kept saying, like, okay, this is the extinction burst. That's what we're experiencing. And at the time I was like, okay, I understand why they're using that phrase, but I think that it's premature. An extinction burst is when you see an uptick in the frequency or intensity of an undesirable behavior because reinforcement for that behavior has suddenly been withdrawn. I no longer think it is premature to use that phrase. I think that we are about to see a true extinction burst when it comes to MAGA and Donald Trump, and I think we need to prepare ourselves for that. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but as we are watching MAGA fracture in real significant ways, whether it is the Epstein votes yesterday and the way that MAGA Republicans were willing to go against Donald Trump, whether or not they thought their votes would result in the Epstein files actually being released, they did a thing that Daddy Donald didn't want. We've watched Marjorie Taylor Greene peel off from Donald Trump and try to revamp her image. We are watching rats fleeing a sinking ship, if you will. Not only is that going to continue to increase, we are now seeing this escalation of factions on the far right having conflict with each other. The Graper Wars, or whatever you want to call it, has been ramping up over the last few weeks. At the same time, we are watching the courts push back in real and significant ways. A Trump-appointed judge here in Portland issued a permanent injunction against Donald Trump using the guard in our city. Yesterday, a Trump-appointed judge, part of a 3-judge panel, issued the ruling blocking the Republicans in Texas, Greg Abbott, Donald Trump, from putting forth their really awful, racist, gerrymandered congressional map for the midterms. Despite the betrayal of the 8 surrender Dems in the Senate, we are watching a number of Democrats in Congress who are becoming far more assertive, outspoken, willing to take a much stronger stand. They are finding their spine. While also we are coming off the heels of the largest single day of protest in the history of this nation and an absolute blue wave in the November 2025 elections. When narcissists feel their control is slipping, they escalate their behaviors. They engage in extinction burst behaviors. Right? I'm familiar with the term extinction burst. Anybody who's had a narcissist in their life that they have had to get free from understands the dynamic of extinction burst behavior. They feel that their control is slipping, and so they escalate in a desperate ploy to get you to give up and surrender and do what they want. Again, extinction burst behavior, extremely maladaptive. It is not going to produce the outcome that they want. They are not going to be able to regain that control, but they sure as hell are going to try for a short period before their end, before you get free of that relationship, before this country is able to get free of fascism and reinstitute a stable government. I just want everybody to be aware we are likely going to see an escalation of behavior from the regime. We already are in terms of the way that they are trying to use Border Patrol and ICE in our cities, right? Over the last few days, Asheville and Charlotte have really been impacted. But the thing is, y'all, just like in Chicago and LA and DC and Portland, now Charlotte and Asheville are doing the same thing. They're saying, no, we will not lay down. We are going to organize. We are going to resist in full force. And that will also elicit more extinction burst behavior. They aren't getting the desired result. The regime is not getting the desired result of us being scared into submission. And so they're going to try harder to scare us. They're going to try and ramp up even more. Instead of being like, okay, this clearly doesn't work, they're going to be like, shit, this isn't working. So we don't know what else to do. The only play in our playbook is threat, intimidation, and violence, that combination of those 3. And so we're going to do more and more of that, hoping that it will work. It's sort of like when you are, parenting a child. If you're in the grocery store and your kid's really hungry and tired, and so they cry and whine and stomp their foot and say, I want a candy bar, and you acquiesce because you're tired. It's exhausting to go grocery shopping with little kids. So you acquiesce and say, okay, I will give in to this tantrum and I will go ahead and get the candy bar for them. And then you get home and you're well rested and you're like, you know what? That's not how I want to be parenting. I don't want to teach my child that having a meltdown is how they get what they want. And so the next time you're at the grocery store, your child stomps their foot and they're like, I want a candy bar, and you don't give it to them. You're like, I'm going to hold strong this time. no, sweetheart, we'll be home in 10 minutes and there's a snack waiting for you there. Candy bar is not a great choice for you. No, thank you. I'm also really hungry, but we're going to hold out a little bit longer. And so that child who wants that candy bar, they're distressed in the moment. I'm promising you, Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, MAGA, they're all very, very distressed right now. So your child's in distress. They thought that they would engage in a behavior and it would get a desired result if they would get a candy bar. And it didn't work. So they're going to escalate, right? It's going to be screaming, stomping their foot even harder, might be laying down, flopping around on the ground, a full-blown tantrum, complete dysregulation. That is what we see from young children who are engaging in extinction burst behavior. Now, if you, the parent, in that moment acquiesce, you have now taught your child, okay, when I'm dysregulated and I'm really hangry, if I throw an absolute shit fit, I can get whatever I want in the moment, right? And we don't want our children to be taught that lesson. We want to teach them emotion regulation. We want to teach them good communication skills. We aren't trying to teach Donald Trump anything. What we're trying to do is get free of fascism. But he also behaves in a similar manner. When he doesn't get what he wants, he has no emotion regulation, no emotional intelligence, just severe distress and lashing out as a result of it. Extinction burst behavior is inherently maladaptive. You still don't quite understand what I'm talking about. A classic example is when you're really hangry and you go to the vending machine and you put your quarters in and you punch the button to get your bag of Doritos and nothing comes out. And so you just punch the button harder and harder over and over. You get more angry and you're stabbing that button, even though it's not going to produce the Doritos bag, right? Even though it's not going to result in the outcome that you want, you are still engaging in this maladaptive, futile behavior, hoping that it will get you your bag of chips. And I just want everybody to understand we are likely to see this kind of behavior from the regime. They have been trying to push our buttons. They're not getting their bag of Doritos. They're not getting their way. They're not getting our compliance. They're not getting our surrender. And so they're just going to start stabbing that button more and more, hoping that it will end how they want. But we all know now, right? We all know there is no condition under which we surrender to fascism. So it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen for them. But they are going to try here for a little bit. We need to understand that they are going to try. They're going to escalate their behavior. It is a last futile attempt to get us to surrender. And we don't give fascists what they want. We're not giving MAGA what they want. There is no condition under which we obey in advance. There is no condition under which we surrender our liberty, our children's future, the future of this democracy to Donald Trump. So please, please, please understand. A would-be autocrat, your narcissistic boyfriend, they try a coercive, threatening behavior and see how you respond. They want you to surrender, and if you don't, they're going to get really distressed. They're going to get really dysregulated. So they're going to escalate their behavior, and if you continue to resist, they're going to escalate it a little more. The only play in their playbook is to scare you into submission. They will do that through threats, intimidation, and violence. And that's what we've been watching all year from the Trump regime, is people standing up, the resistance growing and growing. More and more folks are finding their spine. So please understand what's happening now is that Donald Trump is not getting his way. Narcissists have to get their way. They cannot handle it when they don't get their way. And we are seeing all of the terrible things he doesn't want to come to light, coming to light. We are seeing the lack of control. Every step of the way, we are seeing big fissures forming all over MAGA. This is that pivotal moment where our child is screaming and stomping their foot and we're saying, I'm not going to give you a candy bar. And so they start flopping around on the ground, screaming. Everybody in the grocery store is turning and looking at you being like, shut your kid up. Right, and if you're a good parent, a little bit of you is going like, oh, I empathize with my child. I know they're really hangry. I know they feel really out of control. There's all of these components that are pressuring you to give in to your child in the moment because everything seems really, really escalated and really big. That's the moment when you have to say, I'm so sorry, but you might have to be upset about that for a while. You have really big feelings right now, but they are not going to change my response to your behavior. I'm so sorry you're not getting a candy bar right now. And eventually that tantrum runs its course and we go home and we cut our kid a big slice of banana bread and we put some peanut butter on it and everything's okay. It is crucial in this moment as the regime escalates their behavior. We do not give them a candy bar. We do not surrender. We go into the next days and weeks and potentially months with our eyes wide open about what the regime is doing, why they are doing it, and how it is an act, a series of acts that will be motivated by desperation. We shore up our defenses. We shore up our resolve. There is no circumstance under which we will obey a fascist. There is no circumstance under which we will surrender our liberty. It is fuck you, make me, and ultimately they cannot make us. So If you see extinction burst behavior, it may feel really scary, but understand it's a good sign for us and for democracy.